In May of 2009, I had a heart attack, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But one of the biggest reasons why I live and breathe and talk about boundaries is I did not have the boundaries that I needed in my life back prior to my cardiac event, as I refer to it from time to time. I was in the middle of a startup organization, building it from scratch. I was employee number one, and I was hired in August of 2007. I would say that it turned out to be pretty well. It was successful. It definitely was an organization that's serving the community well. It's provided employment for several people, and it's really, hopefully, increased and made lives better for the people that use that facility day after day. As I was saying, it was a startup organization, and the challenge was I felt like I had to do everything. While there was support staff there that could help me with some things, I took it upon myself to do it because, well, I felt like I was Superman, even though I like Batman. I was definitely acting like a Superman, and I was basically playing with kryptonite, and eventually that kryptonite hit me. I have 2 stents in my left anterior descending artery. Now, if you Google anything about that particular artery, it's often commonly referred to as the widowmaker, because when people have blockages in that artery, the likelihood of survival is slim. Well, as you know, this is live, or maybe you're watching a recording of it, but the last time I checked, I'm still here. So I don't take that for granted. I get a daily reminder of my heart attack when I have to take medications every day. I'm thankful that I have prescription drug coverage to cover the cost of the pills because they're not cheap. Long story short, because I didn't have boundaries in my life, because I didn't take care of myself, because I was burning the candle at 3 ends, I now have to take certain types of medications or certain things for the rest of my life. It gets pricey. It's not cheap. So when you're thinking about things and you're not taking care of yourself and you're not protecting yourself and establishing the right boundaries in your life, there's going to be a cost or several. Talk a little bit about the procedures that were done after I had my heart attack. Because of the challenges of the healthcare system in Ontario, Canada, I was in the hospital for almost a week. Now, if I was in the United States, I probably would have been in and out of the hospital a little bit faster, but then I would have had a nice little thing in my mailbox a few weeks later called a bill, where I did not get any type of bill. I didn't pay anything out of pocket. Now, mind you, we have this thing called PST and GST, which is sales taxes, and we basically pay 13 cents on the dollar for the majority of products and services that we purchase. So we're paying for it. Anybody that says that healthcare is free in Canada has no concept of what free is. The challenge with going through what I did, and I guess the benefit would be, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because I would have not survived if that didn't happen to me when it did, the way that it happened. I would have been continuing down the path of what I was doing, and my hunch is I would have had another heart attack, and it would have been much more severe, and I wouldn't be here talking to you today. When you are laying in a hospital bed and you are vice gripped to the bed so that you keep the bleeding under control for a period of 7 hours, you realize that you have to make some changes in your life. Are there changes you need to make in your life? Are you virtually fastened down to something that's really creating problems in your life? Think about that. We'll talk about it more over the next couple of days. But it's important that you really focus on taking care of yourself, not just from a diet and exercise standpoint, but also from a point of living your life the way that you were designed to live it. Finding that sweet spot, finding what you're good at, finding what you want to do, and ultimately what you don't want to do. When you have a heart attack, you get to carry this badge of a cardiac patient. I have a chronic disease. I don't tend to walk around with that saying it, but it is a reality. It is something that I will be dealing with for my remaining days. I don't let it get in my way. I do let it motivate me to say, I don't ever want to have that happen again. And I see too many people living lives where they are approaching their own potential heart attacks or strokes or challenges that they're facing, and they're not really doing anything to address it. It's crucial for you to have boundaries in your life. If I would have had boundaries, I would have avoided having this cardiac event. I would have avoided the astronomical cost of what transpired after that heart attack, which we'll talk about starting tomorrow. And I wouldn't have to deal with the side effects of taking heart medications and all kinds of other things that end up really impacting on your life and the things that you want to do. So in the comments below, I'd really like to hear about some concerns that you have, some worries. If you're fearful about putting that information down, then that's fine. We can talk about things at a later date, because there'll be opportunities for us to engage further on these things. But your homework for today is this. Take a long, hard look on how you're living. Take a hard, long look on the types of foods you're eating, the activities you're doing, how active have you been today, the things that are on your mind. Are you resting? Are you sleeping well? All of those were a huge contribution to my cardiac event, and it could have been prevented. I know that. Majority of heart attacks are preventable. So tomorrow we'll talk about the first, or actually in this situation, the second domino of my 369 days and how it caused dominoes 3 and 4 to really be impactful. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day.